As an open world game, part of what makes Genshin Impact unique is its representation of different cultures. As of this video, it was recently my favorite annual event, the Liyue Lantern Rite. Many of us know that this occasion was heavily based on Chinese Lunar New Year, so in celebration of this holiday, I decided to research how the Lantern Rite connects to this real-life celebration. These comparisons to real Chinese culture will range from traditional practices such as offerings and lanterns, music like Chinese opera, and many more miscellaneous similarities. Timestamps for the video's content will be in the description if you would like to skip to a specific part. Furthermore, more videos that compare Genshin lore to real-life cultures will be made in the future, especially with the new nation of Sumeru. So if you would like to see them, please consider subscribing, as that is the kind of content I will plan on focusing on in the future. With all that being said, please sit back and enjoy the video. As per namesake, the Lantern Rite exhibits many ornaments and lanterns all across Liyue. However, their cultural significance surpasses the beauty they have on the surface. As these decorations fill the night sky and streets, their purposes in Chinese traditions make them all the more relevant to the story of the game. The lanterns that lend this holiday its namesake are typically signs of letting go of your past self and starting with a new beginning. This is especially true when they are let go into the night sky. This theme of letting go symbolizes the idea of starting with a clean slate for the new year. One of the characters to follow this tradition is Shenhe. During last year's Lantern Rite quest, her journey was to let go of her past identity as an outcast and reunite with her new identity as a true human. She ultimately does this by finding a place to call home in Liyue's human society after saving it from Baishi. Another reason why these lanterns are released into the sky is to scare away a creature known as the Nian. Much of the lanterns and other festivities during the Lunar New Year are to scare away this evil beast, which is thought to come out yearly to wreak havoc on humanity. But how exactly is the annual practice of fighting off a Nian seen in Liyue? During last year's Lantern Rite, we had to fight off Baishi, the spouse of Osayo. This New Year battle against a beast seeking to destroy innocent people could be our connection to the Nian. Not only were both seasonal holiday battles against evil monsters, but the two have similar origins. This is because both the Nian and Baishi are known as dragons who appear out of the sea. Coming off the topic of the Nian, the other decorations seen across Liyue Harbor during the Lantern Rite also share the original purpose of driving away evil spirits. In Chinese culture, much of the ornaments during New Year are red and yellow, for the purpose of bringing good luck and protection. Beyond this, lighting firecrackers and fireworks were also a loud and vigorous means of scaring away malicious beings. While strolling along the harbor, you may even notice dragon masks that are also used for the same purpose, especially in the famous Longdang Dragon Dance. In the animated trailer, Zhao even encounters a little girl who was wearing a mask said to cast away evil spirits, paying homage to these ancient Chinese traditions. The last major comparison we see in the Lantern Rite's decorations is the use of a mascot. In real life, Lunar New Year has different representative animals for each year, due to the use of the lunar calendar, which has 12 different beings. Likewise, the people of Liyue also focus on a different Adeptus creature in every annual Lantern Rite. Therefore, having a Chinese year for each zodiac animal is somewhat similar to Liyue having different years dedicated to specific Adepti animals. Both cultures even take the time to construct giant Mingxiao lanterns for the year's respective zodiac animal. Moving on from the topic of ornaments, let's discuss another part of Chinese New Year tradition we see in Liyue, that being incense. Both holidays pay great tribute to this practice, especially in the epilogue quest. During the dinner, our characters go as far as to argue over who deserves the honor of lighting the night's incense candles. This may have left some people puzzled as to what exactly makes incense so important to Lunar New Year. The truth is, incense plays a role similar to the previous ornaments I mentioned earlier. They are primarily used to bring good luck to the coming year, but are also offerings used to honor the dead. Deceased archons like Pervasis are honored with a table of incense candles. This is a correlation to the Lunar New Year practice of Baishen, which is the ritual offering of candles in the Chinese folk religion. Though we see most of these incense as small candles displayed on tables, we do see the larger incense burners known as shanglus all across Liyue, which are used pretty accurately to their real-life counterparts. Now that we covered incense offerings, let's move on to another type of offering, which is food. Just like every other culture in the world, those who celebrate both the Lantern Rite and real-life Lunar New Year often get together to enjoy special dishes with friends and family. The Chinese practice of a Tianyan, or a Wei Lu, is when families and friends get together for a feast during the Lunar New Year festivities. We see this when Zhongli enjoys a reunion meal of bamboo shoot soup with his old friends Mountain Shaper and Moon Carver. This also includes the epilogue's quest dinner and even the non-Liweyan or non-Chinese archons getting together in the promotional animation. However, food isn't only eaten by the living participants of Lunar New Year, but it is also offered to fallen loved ones. The Chinese practice of Qingming during this season includes the offering of favorite foods to dead loved ones, especially on their newly cleaned gravestones. We see this too in Liyue, mostly during 2022's Lantern Rite cutscene. On the grave of Ajdaha, someone, most likely Zhongli, left tea and food for his lost friend, paying homage to this ancient Chinese practice. Just like how I mentioned earlier that Pervasis had incense offerings, his altar also had some food on it, which adheres to this ancient Chinese tradition. Even on Mount Aotsang, one of the rituals performed by pilgrims, and also as us as the player during our Archon quest in Liyue, is to prepare food and leave it on the Adeptus' dining table, which includes Guizhong, a deceased Adeptus. This practice of leaving food for the Adepti, both living and dead, connects to the Chinese practice of offering food for the gods, with the hope of receiving a good luck for the new year. One of the gods they offer to is the god of the kitchen, which may or may not be seen in Guoba. Back to actually eating food, Liyue actually has a list of Lantern Rite dishes that connect to the symbolism conveyed by Lunar New Year food. One such example includes eating long uncut noodles for the longevity of a healthy life. In the harbor, one of the foods you could obtain are Lantern Rite fried radish balls. In Lunar New Year, round ball dishes are typically eaten to represent a wholesome life. Furthermore, the raw sashimi dish, Bountiful Year, is derived from yu sheng, a Chinese but also Malaysian and Singaporean dish that is also eaten around the holiday. Its real-life counterpart retains symbolism that is synonymous with a bountiful year, as the raw fish and produce is used to represent abundant prosperity. However, the fact that Zhongli chooses bamboo shoot soup as his special dish for this year's Lantern Rite is somewhat symbolic to him as well. In Chinese culture, bamboo represents the virtue of loyalty, which goes in line with Zhongli's character in the story. As Rex Lapis, he is the Archon of contracts, or the loyalty of keeping a promise even if the person you made it with is no longer around. During the current Lantern Rite, one of our current minigames is a shadow puppet game. Although it may seem like a simple 2D puzzle game, its relevance actually goes all the way back to an ancient Chinese art known as piying. These were typically performed with intricately designed puppets just like we see in the game, and were often used to tell stories by well-trained troops that travel across China. However, it's really the historical origin of piying that connects to this minigame. This is because both of them emphasize a sort of love story. During the ancient Han Dynasty, Emperor Wu fell into depression once his favorite concubine passed away. In order to bring him back to joy, his servants created a shadow puppet that resembled the shape of his late lover, making the grieving emperor happy once again. This history is somewhat emulated when the bearded hero we play as goes on some quests that involve him reuniting with a lost woman, much like how shadow puppetry was the only place where Emperor Wu could figuratively reunite with his deceased lover. What made this year's Lantern Rite unique was its central theme of music. While this year's celebration was a more modern one, with the use of rock, rapping and hip-hop, as well as European symphony, last year's was more traditional, as it was the year we were introduced to Yunjin. Since Yunjin is a character we will forever associate with this festive occasion, let's see how exactly her musical genre connects to traditional Chinese festivities. Her field of music is classical Chinese opera, or shichu, and much of her character correlates to specific parts of this genre. First of all, both are typically used to tell epic stories, as it is what Yunjin does during her performance on the Jade Chamber as a homage to Shen He. However, even if you're not a professional music connoisseur, you could tell that her style of singing is pretty unique compared to other people. Instead of just spitting out words, Yunjin is known for stretching her vocals. This method of singing is a callback to the Chinese method of Changbai. That makes this style of music unique. Another part of Yunjin that connects to Chinese opera is her character design. You may notice that a group of flags pop up on her back for her elemental combat ability. This connects to the original purpose of flags in Peking-style opera, as they are used to convey warlike scenes with legendary generals and warriors.